Chapter 85 to 88. So I got a new unique skill by the name of Spatial Ruler. It's a rather simple unique skill that basically lets me control space in a multitude of ways rather easily. I honestly think I could go head to head with some of the powerhouses of this world with just this one unique skill and my infinite magicules. My defense problem was also solved with this skill. Now I'm constantly surrounded by a barrier that pretty much displaces me into a separate space. This way any attack that manages to hit me either disappears or simply passes right through me. How does it work? I have no fucking clue. This is also why I'm not questioning how Ian Gandalf's glorious beard did Makoto manage to knock me unconscious. Ahem. As I said, I'm not questioning it. I'm also deeply contemplating the effectiveness of my resistances, but when I tested it by standing in the middle of a magically induced dark lightning storm, I didn't feel a tingle. And yes, my barrier was deactivated during the test. So yeah, another event chalked up to bullshit anime logic. But I did get a lap pillow out of it, so my grievances are reduced. Anyway. It's been a couple of days since that incident. Everything is going smoothly and nothing out of the ordinary is happening. Boom. Oh no! Cheyenne's cooking has gained sentience and is going on a rampage. Boom. Bad news. Meline killed it but took down several buildings with it. Boom. Trainee asterisk in a JoJo voice asterisk OHNO. You just came in here to say that, didn't you? Go back. Sigh. As I said, nothing out of the ordinary is happening. I begin walking towards the screams of panic and I find myself standing in the middle of the street next to Malim and Cheyenne looking at the destruction they caused. In front of them are multiple ruins of buildings all destroyed and the corpse of something. Do you remember Jabba the Hutt? Yeah, it looks like a rounder version of him covered in lube. Regardless, I activate Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, and eat the thing. I write down some runes in the air with Scat-Hack, Lord of Runes, and they glow and disappear. Eventually, the buildings started rewinding and fixing themselves. Those runes didn't do much, they just fixed the damage Malim caused by reversing the state of the buildings. Luckily no one was hurt. Rimuru, Cheyenne, Malim. I speak out two names and the girls standing next to me freeze up. Rimuru, no meat buns for a week. They drop to their knees in grief. Regardless, ever since Malim started living here in Avalon, I've had a thought on my mind. Should I save her pet dragon? For context, a long time ago Malim was given a pet dragon by her father, Beldanava. Yes, Beldanava is the creator of this world and yes, Malim is his daughter. Moving on, Malim's parents died and that dragon ended up being the only family in this world that she had. Unfortunately due to a country's scheming, that dragon was killed and Malim went on a rampage, eventually fulfilling the criteria for evolving into a demon lord by bringing that country to ruin. Yes, it's John Wick. I know. Unlike John Wick, however, due to Malim's evolution, her pet dragon was able to be revived. But its spirit was heavily damaged, and thus it revived as a chaos dragon, completely devoid of consciousness and craving nothing but destruction. Malim reluctantly sealed it and that's the end of that. However, OG Rimuru was able to repair its spirit and revive it in the series. In fact, OG Rimuru's method of revival was the inspiration I used to revive Shizu. Now the question is, should I go save the dragon or should I wait until it happens naturally in canon? Meh, I'll think about it later. Procrastination. /n, seriously though, comment your thoughts on this topic. Anyway, today is a rather special day. We have a festival planned. What about? I don't know, I wasn't paying attention during the meeting, but still, everyone decided to hold a festival throughout the entire city and everyone is recommended to join. Lots of preparation has been done as well. People are rushing all over the place making their contribution. In fact, Cheyenne's monstrosity was the result of her trying extra hard for the festival. She wanted to bake lots of food for everyone. Thankfully, it gained sentience. You know her cooking is bad when you would prefer her cooking turning into a monster than eating it. Luckily Shina heard of Cheyenne's attempt and is now looking after her to make sure something like this doesn't happen for the rest of the day. Shina is very strict about cooking, after all. Rimuru, sorry to make you do this. Shina, no, don't mind it. In any case, I've finished your yukata. Shina says while handing over a blackwood box. I gratefully accept it before I open it slightly to have a peek at its contents. Inside, I see a simple but elegant yukata. I asked Shina to make something for me to wear during the festival. I thought it would be a nice change over just making something with Ahura Mazda, Lord of Creation. I look up again to see Shuna disappearing around the corner dragging Cheyenne behind her. I just wryly smile and use spatial ruler and teleport back home. The box in my hands disappears and my normal Demon Lord Rimuru-inspired attire disappears, replaced with a white yukata with gold flowers embroidered along the edges. I tie my white hair up in a man bun and look in the mirror, my golden eyes staring back at me through it. Damn, I'm one mean lady killer alright. So apparently tying my hair up in a man bun was not one of the best ideas I had. It turns out that, well, with an androgynous face like mine, a man bun isn't exactly manly. Especially when paired with a yukata. Shuna Rimuru-sama, you're so cute. Shuna screams the moment she sees me and jumps on me, quickly followed by Cheyenne. Click, 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 click. Nalim is taking pictures with that damn phone of hers. Trainee is just looking at me with a hand lightly covering her mouth with an era aura around her. Mikoto and Ilya are just standing there next to each other with complicated expressions, and Shizu is, well. Shizu Naya. Just lazing over Mikoto's shoulder. I guess in this situation I should say I am aware of the effect I have on women. Unfortunately, the effect is not beneficial. Regardless, I discarded the man bun style and returned to my natural state of just letting my hair go free without tying it up or anything. In any case, I prefer this style anyway. Although I could turn into my male form, I've grown attached to my gender-neutral form. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I want to reserve my male form for a special occasion. Or maybe it's an instinctual action to prevent the event of getting chased around Avalon by any women I cross paths with. I mean, I've seen my male form. I can guarantee I can even turn lesbians straight with that face. Don't misunderstand, it's not like I would dislike it. I'm a straight virgin male, getting chased by women instead of having them run away from me is a nice change. /n, oof. It's just that I'm more scared of what Ilya and Mikoto would do if they found out that I was enjoying getting chased by many women. They might choose to ignore me and I would become deprived of my source to vent my frustrations, head patting Ilya, and my favorite resting pillow, Mikoto's thighs. Therefore, I choose to play it safe and remain in my gender-neutral form. As for the males of the group, their reactions weren't as colorful as the girls. Which is good. Benimaru, that hairstyle, should I tie my hair like that? Then I could be like Rimuru-sama. So your hair is a bit too short for it. Hakuru ho ho ho, perhaps I should style my own hair in that fashion. They were mostly interested in the hairstyle. Ranga, you look dashing, master. Ranga is just being Ranga, sitting to the side while wagging his tail, causing a small gale in the area. Anyway, all of us are dressed in yukatas handmade by Shuna for the festival. Each yukata is designed to suit each of us specifically, you can really see the attention Shuna put into them. Rimuru, right guys, come here or a second. I get everyone's attention and they all walk up to me. Snap. I snap my fingers while invoking Scat Hack, causing everyone's right palm to glow softly, including my own. Looking closer, you can see a rune written on it. Rimuru, that rune is there to hide all of your identities. Tonight, you're just a regular citizen. This way you don't have to worry about getting recognized every step of the way. Although we can still recognize each other. Everyone with us is quite famous among the general populace, including Gabble, Kaijin, Vesta, and Kurobe. Each of us holds a high position and we meet many people during our work, so it would be a bit hard to enjoy yourself when you're constantly getting swarmed by fans. It would especially be nightmarish for me. Not that I work in the first place. Rimuru, in any case, those runes are written with magicules and will disappear by tomorrow, so let's go and enjoy ourselves. Everyone, oh. I raise my fist into the air in a cheer and everyone mimics me. And so, as the sun sinks below the horizon, the festival officially starts. A few hours later. Hori Shet. I'm alone. How did it come to this? I'm not sure either. We all wandered around the festival as a large group before one by one, the left to try out different things. Before I knew it, I was all alone. I'm not sad or anything, sniff. Regardless, I'm now alone wandering through a large crowd, looking around to see if anything catches my eye. There are many things here at this festival. I mean, the entire city is participating either by setting up stalls or just wandering around having fun like me. Attractions are a common sight. Most of them are attractions you'd see at festivals from my old world. Minigames, gift shops, things like that. Some of them are even small food stalls selling things from candy apples and fairy floss to chips and other hot foods. There's even inhales. Meat buns. Rimuru, I'll take your entire stock. A large purchase later. I'm wandering down the street, nibbling on a meat bun, looking around to see if anything catches my eye. There's nothing that stands out really. But it's during these moments when I realize that this city really is some kind of paradise. Monsters walking around doing nothing but enjoying themselves. Each of them has a large smile on their face, from the pedestrians to the stall owners, male to female, old to young. All of them are glowing with happiness. Looking up, you can see the barrier protecting this place shimmering in the darkness, yet not obstructing the glow from the full moon or the stars. It really makes me wonder. Is all this really because of me? Obviously, I didn't make this from the ground up by myself. I've had a lot of help. The goblins, wolves, kijin, ogres, orcs, heck, even Gabble and his dragonauts. All of them pitched in and built this place, Avalon, from the ground up. I chuckle to myself. I named it Avalon because it sounded cool, but Rimuru, it really is some kind of ever-distant utopia, huh? Well, it's not so distant in reality. Make way, make way. Loud shouting comes from behind me. I turn around to see a large festival float slowly creeping this way. The goblins in front of it are clearing out the path to make sure no one gets run over. A parade, huh? I wonder what it's about. I walk closer to take a look. Milim Yahoo. Milim. Standing on top of the float modeled after a certain lazy hellcat waving down at the crowds is Milim, still in her yukata. How the hell did she even get up there? And is that Ilya standing next to you? Ilya, as if sensing my gaze, looks towards me with a helpless smile. I'm sorry, Ilya, but you're on Milim duty for tonight. Her shoulders slump down and she just sighs. I'm sorry. I'll pat your head lots later. Not wanting to stand in the stuffy mob of bodies for much longer, I weave through the crowds until I find a bench. I decide to just sit there, nibbling on my meat buns until the parade passes and the area clears up. The meat buns I make are better. Finally, the festival float passes, dragging the large crowd with it. Man, these identity-concealing runes really are a lifesaver. If I didn't have them while in that crowd, I probably would have never been able to escape unless through another fucking dimension. And even then, I'm not sure. As the crowd passes, a stranger sits next to me. I look over to them and say hi. Rimuru, hey. Hi. I look back forward before my eyes widen and my head snaps back in the stranger's direction. Said stranger is looking at me with a shocked expression too. Rimuru Mikoto. Mikoto Rimuru. Rimuru/Mikoto, what are you doing here? God, I love these cliché moments. But Mikoto seems genuinely surprised about finding me, a bit panicky too. Or rather, she looks more flustered than anything else. Did she not sense me? Speaking of which, how the fuck did I not sense her? Universal sense? Are you going on strike again? /n universal sense.exe has stopped working. Rimuru, what do you mean, what am I doing here? You guys left me. I'm still a little sad about it, I wasn't sad. Mikoto, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to. Milim dragged me and Ilya away because she wanted to go on that festival float, but unfortunately only 2 people could ride on it at the top, so I had to follow on foot, but I got tired and decided to take a rest here. Rimuru, alright, I got it. Take a deep breath, you didn't pause once during that sentence. Mikoto closed her eyes and followed my advice. Mikoto inhale *. So how are you, Rimuru? Nope, she's still panicked. I mean, I can understand her. I would probably act the same way if I didn't have full control over my body. It's like meeting your high school crush when you just went to buy something from the local store. I just sigh and decide to answer her question. Rimuru, well, I was just wandering around, thinking about the meaning of life. Ilya lies. You're just a Rimuru, that's too much for you. Whoa. /n Raphael returns. Beep. Rimuru, well, I was just wandering around, enjoying the many attractions here at the festival, by myself. Mikoto. Are you angry? Me? Angry? No. Sad? Perhaps. Rimuru ***, no, I'm not angry. How about you? Are you enjoying yourself? Mikoto, I guess so. Aside from being dragged around by Milim, the festival is pretty fun. There are lots of different stalls, mini-games, foods and drinks. It's honestly a bit overwhelming, it's totally different from the festivals back in my old world. She calms down and begins talking about the festival with a smile on her face before she's reminded of her old world. She looks up at the stars through the barrier with a dazed look on her face. Mikoto. Do you think my home is somewhere up there? I feel a sharp pain in my heart. I've regretted it, you know? Bringing her here. It's not like she forgot her old world, she still remembers it and, well, she misses it a lot. And I'm the one who took her away from there. I follow Mikoto's line of sight and look up at the stars as well. Rimuru. Should I have just let you go back then? Mikoto flinches and turns to me with a serious expression on her face. Mikoto Rimuru. Don't say that. My line of sight falls back on the chestnut-haired girl who is staring back at me with a serious expression. Mikoto, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have changed anything. I would still take that deal. Suddenly, her mouth morphs into a smile. A very kind and warm smile. Mikoto, besides, I got to meet everyone here because of that. Trainee, Cheyenne, Shina, Benimaru, Soai, Hakuru, Kurobe, Kaijin, Ranga, Rigard. Heck, even Gabble, Geld and Vesta too. Especially Shizu, Ilya, Malim, and even you. She didn't finish her sentence, but I knew where she was going. Or more specifically, her face burst with a shade of red when she realized where she was going with that sentence and became unable to complete it. So cute. I just smile back at Mikoto. Honestly, how far is she going to make me fall for her? Rimuru, I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Misaka Mikoto, I promise you. N, remember, she's Japanese. Her last name comes before her first name. For us, she would be called Mikoto Misaka. I jump up from the bench and stand in front of Mikoto with open arms, my golden eyes shining as my hair and sleeves of my yukata flutter from my movements. Rimuru, I'll become stronger. Strong enough to break through the dimensional wall and find your home again. I'll bring you back, and then you'll be able to travel back and forth between the two worlds just by walking a few steps. You'll literally have the best of both worlds. I reaffirmed the promise I made with Mikoto on the day I officially summoned her. I had no intentions of forgetting it or reneging on my promise, but it just felt right to promise her again. Mikoto looks up at me from her position on the bench. She tucks a strand of loose hair behind her ear, closes her eyes and grins cheerfully, showing her perfect white teeth. Mikoto I'll be waiting. We eventually spent the rest of the night wandering around the festival by ourselves. We occasionally ran into the others, but we only said hello before separating again. In the end, it was just Mikoto and myself for most of the night. We did many things together, mini-games like ring toss, knocking down your prize with a cork gun, goldfish scooping, and things like that. I mean, they each had their supernatural twist to it, which I prefer not to say lest my view of normal festivals becomes completely shattered. Shudders as I remember the scene of a plushie of my slime form getting obliterated by the magic cork guns. There was even a stage play, starring Trainee and Rigard in their own take of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Rigard, ho? You're approaching me? Instead of running away, you're coming right to me? Trainee, I can't beat the shit out of you without getting closer. Rigard, oh ho! Then come as close as you like. They approach each other as menacing character props are lowered down from the ceiling behind them. It was beautiful. In the end, there was a large bonfire dance. Many people gathered for this event to dance around the fire with their partners. Mikoto and I were just walking around like usual when we saw several goblins putting up posters. Getting curious, we walked up to take a look. Written on the poster is an advertisement for the upcoming bonfire dance. Rimuru, there was something like that, wasn't there? I remember suggesting this for fun during the festival preparation meeting. But, this could be a good chance. Smiling playfully, I step in front of Mikoto and bow forward with my right hand outstretched. With my left hand, I create a fedora with Ahura Mazda and place it on my head. Rimuru, would you honor me to have this dance with you, my lady? Tips fedora. Mikoto, me. Rimuru, yes you. You're the only one I know here, after all. Mikoto pouts at me. I just chuckle to myself and lean forward even more and whisper in her ear. Rimuru, well, you would still be my first choice even if there were other girls here. She steps back as her lips twitch furiously. It's not because she's angry, it's because she's fighting with herself, trying to hold her lips down and prevent them from smiling so blatantly. Mikoto well, I guess I could be your partner. It's only because you don't have any other choice. Remember that. Mikoto accepts my dance proposal while placing her soft hand in my outstretched hand while looking away. I love this woman. Rimuru tsundere. Mikoto I am not at tsundere. Yup. I really love her. And so we walk over to the large opening where the bonfire dance was scheduled to be. Meanwhile, a random orc was walking by and saw the fedora. Orc Jeff, my name Jeff. He immediately fell in love with it and took it as a holy artifact. Many monsters have already gathered and several large bonfires are already ablaze, its flame reaching nearly a dozen meters high. Half an hour later, the dance has finally begun. It wasn't anything special, nor was it a uniform thing. I mean, we're all monsters here, there's no way they magically learned how to properly dance so soon. A festival like this is already enough of a culture shock for them. So although it was called a bonfire dance, it was more just an event for a couple to do their own thing around a fire. The music started and Mikoto and I just decided to dance as we would in our old world in an event like this. Well, for me, I know how to do it through Satoru Mikami's memories. I mean, I've never done this in my original life after all. But it worked out well enough. I was a bit clumsy at first, but Mikoto thankfully gave me tips and pointers, even though she couldn't be considered experienced herself. In the end, it all worked out well enough. It also helps that we're both, physically, of similar age. I look like a 15 or 16-year-old teenager, which fits well with Mikoto. I'm only slightly taller than her by an inch or two. We found each other's rhythm and we quickly became drawn in our own world. It may sound cringe, but it's the only way I could describe this. Rimuru, I like your yukata, by the way. It suits you. Mikoto is wearing a blue yukata with red and yellow flower patterns on it. It honestly suits her quite well. Although Mikoto in casual clothes is cute in its own right, Mikoto in a yukata has a different kind of charm to it. Shina really did a good job. Mikoto, eh? Bam, her face instantly takes on a shade of crimson. I smirk at the blushing tsundere in front of me and just continue to just enjoy the moment. I'm fighting for my life right now. Shing. Never before have I ever been in such mortal danger. Clang. Right now. Hakuru is beating the shit out of me. Rimuru, I said I'm sorry. I scream out while running away from the kitchen behind me. Hakuru, no, there's no need for an apology, Rimuru-sama. I just thought some extra training would be good for you. Yeah, right. Then why are you trying to hit me so hard? Where are the lessons? Shing. What, that nearly cut my neck. I mean, it's not like it's a vital spot for me, since I can just regenerate it and I'm a slime, but come on. Rimuru, I didn't mean to call you a senile old man. Let me off, please. Hakuru, no, you are still in need of training. Then at least let me use my fucking sword. But alas, my cries went unheard. Now, you may be wondering, Rimuru, why don't you just teleport away, or why don't you just use your full strength to defeat Hakuru, or Rimuru, stop breaking the damn 4th wall dash. Cough. Well, I can't just beat my teacher into the ground using my overwhelming strength. If I just used my pure techniques to defeat Hakuru, then it's fine, but it's more of a matter of pride. Unless I'm facing an enemy, I will try to keep things fair and balanced. As for why I don't just run away using my superior physical speed or teleporting, I can't run away forever. It's better to just beg for forgiveness now and hope he relents than run away only for Hakuru to beat me up later. And once again, it's a pride thing. I don't want to just run away. Film. A large lightning strike falls from the sky and strikes the ground in the middle of the city. Said lightning strike wasn't all that powerful, but it was big so that it was easily noticeable. Seeing how the barrier over Avalon didn't stop, it must mean that it's not an outside attack. And Mikoto is the only electricity specialist I know, so it must be because of her. What the fuck happened? Right, what was I just talking about? Ah yes, I don't want to run away from Hakuru since it's also a pride thing. Rimuru, well, that looks important, I'll be going to have a look, goodbye sensei. And so I teleport out of the training field, leaving the horned devil holding his beat stick. And to clarify my previous statement, I meant that I don't want to run away for no reason. Meaning, I at least need an excuse so it doesn't seem like I'm just running away. I am running away, with purpose. A few minutes ago, Ilya POV. Right, according to Oniai-chan's memories, Phobia will be arriving in Avalon after Malim. This wasn't certain since the timeline is slightly different from the anime Onii-chan saw before he died. However, there's a good chance that the events shown in the anime will occur in the same order. As for if they will happen sooner or later than canon, that remains to be seen. There is a good chance that Phobio will attack Rigard, which will cause Malim to grow angry on his behalf, which will cause some problems. And so, knowing all of this, I had to prevent it from happening. Well, long story short, it still happened. Sigh. I rest my face in my palm while sighing. In front of me is Rigard still recovering from the blow Phobio gave to his face. Because Onii-chan named his subordinate monsters while pumping them full with magicules, all of the monsters named by him have grown far stronger than normal. So even after taking a punch in the face from a high-level Majin without any protection, he only has some scorch marks on his cheeks and maybe a broken bone or two. I'm a little angry at them. I like Rigard, he treats me like his granddaughter. Ilya, are you okay, Rigard? Rigard, oh, if it isn't Ilyasvili-sama. Forgive me for this unsightly view. I rush forward and kneel down next to him while giving him a full potion I took out from Onii-chan's Beelzebub storage space. While I can't use Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, in combat like several of Onii-chan's skills, I can use it as an item box of some kind. Ilya, stop talking nonsense. Here, a full potion. Although scanning through Universal Sense quickly told me that Rigard is fine, I'm still slightly worried. I think a small trace of that worry appeared on my face because he didn't say anything and quickly took it. Otherwise, he would argue that using such a thing on him is wasteful and things like that. I had several plans in place to prevent this from happening. I sensed Phobio and his group coming from dozens of kilometers away, but one thing happened after the other, and... Seriously, how was I supposed to know that they would waltz right in through the front door? Do they not know that you should at least let someone know of your arrival? Were they expecting Onii-chan to just cater to their every will? Now that I'm thinking about it, they probably thought we were just pushovers. Their superior, Demon Lord Carrion shouldn't be aware of everyone's exact power levels through a crystal ball recording, so Phobio assumed we were just weaklings. I didn't account for their level of stupidity. My predictions were based on the assumption that they had at least some form of intelligence, but I was off the mark. Are they naturally this dumb or did they have to put in the effort? I mean, I had low expectations from Onii-chan's memories, but they even failed to achieve that. Oops, my thoughts are going in a dangerous direction. Where was I? Oh, right. In the end, I left them alone for just a few moments and would you look at that, Phobio and his group immediately met with Rigard. Rigard, being the person who normally deals with situations like these, quickly realized that Phobio and his group are important guests, his words, not mine, so he walked up to them to inquire about their reasons for being here. Phobio talked about how this village is suitable to serve under Demon Lord Carrion and stuff like that. Rigard tried to make a joke out of it, seeing as their words could be taken as a declaration of war, but nope. Phobio instead punched Rigard in the face with a flaming fist. And that is when I appeared. Things should be all fine and well at this point, but... I looked to my left. There, I see a scene you shouldn't be able to see every day. Malim, let me go. I just want to talk to him. Mikoto, no way. You're definitely going to do more than just talk. Malim is flaring her aura in anger, raring to jump on Phobio while Mikoto is holding her back from behind. Sigh. I sigh once again. Onii-chan, I'd better get plenty of head pats for dealing with this. MCPOV. I use Spatial Ruler to teleport to the area where the huge lightning strike hit. A large crowd has already gathered by the time I arrived. Unfortunately, said the crowd is blocking the way, so I subtly flare my aura causing the crowd to split, letting me through. I don't flare it to cause pressure or anything, I just did it to increase my presence. This way people will notice me quickly and after realizing who I am, will let me pass through easier. Look over there. It's Rimuru-sama. Whispers from the crowd quickly spread as I continue walking. Rimuru, what happened? I speak into the air while walking through the crowd. A shadow flashes next to me, quickly revealing itself as Soai. This time, I was expecting this. I learned my lesson from last time. Soai, a guest has appeared. They were causing some trouble and Rigard attempted to pacify them which didn't sit well with our guest. Rimuru, that. They're here already, huh? Thank you, Soai. You can go back to your work now. Soai understood. And with another shadowy flash, he disappeared. At this point, I arrive at the clearing in the middle of the crowd to find Phobio on the ground unconscious. I expected this a little. What I didn't expect, however, was the residual lightning crackling around him. It wasn't Malim who hit him? I look up from the body towards the figure standing to the side, who I'm almost certain is the culprit. Rimuru, so? What happened? Mikoto ihi. Mikoto nervously laughs as she scratches the back of her head. I shift my attention to the pink twin-tail-haired girl standing to her left and raise an eyebrow at her. Malim shifts her eyes towards the sky while whistling. She also happens to be bad at whistling. Like, she's just blowing wind. Malim FFFF. PHHHH. I'll teach her how to whistle later. I then turn to look at my only source of hope. Ilya notices my stare, smiles brightly, and runs up to me. I also involuntarily smile as I raise my hand and drop it on her head softly. Insert scene of Rimuru giving Ilya head pats. As soon as my hand makes contact, memories of what just happened flow into my head. I close my eyes to process the inflow of information. Yes, giving Ilya head pats lets her transfer information to me. Although she could do the same thing with thought communication, I wouldn't have an excuse to pat her head if she did that, so we both conveniently ignored that option. After a few seconds, I completely process the memories and open my eyes again. Looking down, I see Ilya with her eyes closed wearing an expression of absolute bliss. Ilya, Funya. What is this adorable creature? In any case, I understand the situation now. Basically, what happened was that our unconscious friend Phobio here punched Rigard in the face, which angered Malim. Malim wanted to teach Phobio a lesson, but Mikoto held her back, reminding her that she shouldn't interfere since this matter between Avalon and Phobio. If Malim interferes, the situation could change. In all honesty, the situation could only change in a positive direction, but I agree with Mikoto. I said I'll defend my people and Avalon by myself without Malim's help, and I intend to keep my word. Immediately after that, however, Mikoto said the following. Mikoto, well, I'm a part of Avalon, so... and proceeded to drop a thunderbolt right on Phobio's head, knocking him unconscious. I remember thinking that if certain conditions were met, Mikoto would join Malim in making more chaos rather than stop her. It turns out I was right. I love this woman. Regardless, I turned towards Mikoto and Malim with a stern expression, my hand never once ceasing its petting. Rimuru now, as for the two of you. Why didn't you wait for me? A bead of sweat rolls down the side of Malim's head, fearing that I might revoke her lunch. Mikoto steps forward, wanting to explain her point of view. Mikoto, Rimuru, I can't just dash. However, I don't want to hear it. I'm a little angry, you know? I'm also a bit annoyed. I'm mostly disappointed though. After all. Rimuru, I wanted to knock him unconscious. Mikoto, eh? Malim, eh? I clench my fist at the unfairness of the situation. It's such a shame. I wanted to teach this guy a lesson myself. Imagine. Phobio punches Rigard when suddenly, a wild slime appears and RKOs him from out of nowhere. Then, while he's on the ground, I would proceed to dance the torture dance while teabagging him. Such a wasted opportunity. Rigard, are you sure about this, Rimuru-sama? Rigard walks up from behind me, fully recovered, and asks me a question. I turn my head to him with nothing but confusion on my face. Rimuru, I thought you of all people would be supportive of the torture dance? Rigard, and no, not that. Phobio sounded like an important person, especially if he was willing to attack me without thinking about the repercussions. He's worried about angering Carrion. True, Phobio being one of the 3 Beastketeers serving directly under Demon Lord Carrion does give him some clout. Attacking him would most definitely anger Carrion, if we were just your average gathering of monsters. Carrion, who has seen us beat down the Orc Lord, shouldn't want to create conflict with us, at least without some preparations. From Ilya's memories, it's more likely that Phobio, being the dumbass that he is, attacked Rigard simply because he was stronger. He probably didn't even think about us retaliating, nor the consequences his actions could have. I mean, I could wage war with Carrion over this and no one can say anything. But in the end, I don't care about politics that much. Rimuru, don't care. This guy could bring his entire sect and call on his family up to 13 generations back and I could still wipe the floor with him. Rigard, sect. What's a sect? Rigard mutters something, but I've already turned my attention to Phobio's companions, who are tending to their unconscious leader. Rimuru, and you guys. You'd better behave yourself. I don't care if you're subordinates of a demon lord. You're in Avalon now. This is my turf, so you'd better play by my rules. I flare my aura through Lord's Ambition, before immediately cutting it off again, causing Phobio's companions to flinch before breaking out in a cold sweat. I'm not surprised, even if it was only for a split second, they felt the aura of someone on par with a true dragon. I would also T-pose at this moment to inflict even more fear into them, but I'm currently patting Ilya, so I had to let that opportunity go. In any case, this whole incident is over. I want to deal with the whole Charybdis issue, so I'll follow the plot a bit for now. I don't know where Charybdis is currently sealed, after all. Sure, I could just write some runes or make an item that would lead me to it, but where's the fun in that? Sigh. The problems that come with OPness. Meanwhile, Ilya is still melting under my headpats and Makoto and Malim are unsure of what to do now. Name, Rimuru. Race, Origin Slime. Protection, Crest of Space. Title, Highest Tier Spirit, Leader of the Monsters, Oniai-chan, King of Avalon, Master of Headpats. Manus, Ilyasville. Ultimate Skills, Belzebuth, Lord of Gluttony, Ahura Mazda, Lord of Creation, Scathach, Lord of Runes. Unique Skills, Spatial Ruler. Intrinsic Skills, Infinite Regeneration, Universal Shapeshift, Universal Sense, Enhanced Replication, Universal Thread. Extra Skills, Lord's Ambition, Thought Communication, Control Particles, Control Natural Elements. Resistances, Cancel Pain, Resist Melee Attack, Cancel Natural Elements, Cancel Ailments, Resist Spiritual Attack, Resist Holy Attack. Equipment, Yamato, Harp, Raphael, Skill Orb. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips. If you liked the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll stay here until next time.